Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Emily if you are new, and I hope you're having a beautiful fall day so far. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some more fall DIY decor ideas using products from the Dollar Tree, and I love the way all of these have come together. I think they are just gorgeous, and they are more on the neutral side, which I love. One of them is burnt orange, and I just think it's so pretty, hence the shirt. I am loving this color lately, so I hope that this will give you lots of ideas on how to decorate your home on a budget. Hopefully you'll be able to recreate these as well, and if you do, be sure to tag me on Instagram, that way I can repost it in my stories and everything. I hope you guys enjoy these, so be sure to give them a thumbs up, subscribe as always if you are new, so I can continue to inspire and motivate you here, and let's go ahead and get started. So for this DIY, you will want white paint, antique wax paint, some paint brushes, wood leaves, glue gun, wire cutters, pumpkin sign, and you don't need the florals at all. I changed my mind on that. So I'm taking Waverly white paint, and I like this stuff because it's really thick and it dries super fast. If you don't want to wait for it to dry for about 10 and 15 minutes, you can just blow dry it, which you'll see me probably do in this tutorial. But I'm just going to spread this all on the back of the sign. Then I'm taking that antique wax glaze, which is by Waverly as well, and putting it on the leaves. And I actually ended up only using one leaf for this project, not all four, but this acts kind of like a stain, so if you don't have this, you could also use like a walnut color stain. The next step was to take some gold paint, and I'm doing this to the bottom of the area, or the bottom pumpkin I should say, and just kind of doing dry brushing strokes and working my way up from the bottom to the top just to kind of frame it in. And you'll notice that my strokes have a little curve to them. That is so that we can create that pumpkin shape with this. And I always go down the middle too, and then I'm also going to add the gold to the very top one as well, and then also to the bottom of that top pumpkin. For some reason, I guess I cut out the part where I cut off the wings of the top hat. I don't know where that part went, so I just used my wire cutters to trim that off so it doesn't look like he's wearing a hat. Pumpkins don't have hats. Now I'm taking that sage green and I'm working that into the middle one, and again just highlighting that, and I'm kind of going a little bit darker at the very bottom of each and the top of it. That way we can kind of create that depth there as if the pumpkins are actually stacked on each other. And I really love the way this one came out. I had one idea for it and then it kind of took this turn, so I'm happy with it. Hopefully you guys will be able to recreate this. Now I'm going to go in with black paint, and I'm going to again creating more depth at the bottom of each pumpkin, and I'm doing this and I'm shading out the outsides just a little bit for the top and the bottom one, so I didn't want them just to be gold. And again, making darker strokes where I want the lines of the pumpkin to come up and create that depth. I thought it'd be nice for you guys to see an overview of my mess when I actually DIY, but I decided to just go in with a Sharpie and write on this. My original plan was to use the leaves for this, but I didn't like the way it looked in the end, so I just wrote "Welcome to our home." You can use stick-on letters if you want for this, or freehand it like I did, or paint them on. It's completely up to you. I added a little bit of glue to the bottom of that leaf, and then took some straw twine and made a bow out of it, and then I just add a little bit of black and gold paint to the very top of the pumpkin, and this is the way it turned out. I really like it. I think it's beautiful. It's simple. You can have it say whatever you want. Welcome to our patch, happy fall, like whatever you want to say, do your heart's content. For the next project, this is actually a project that I did last year. I will have the full video link down below, but I'm using the same pumpkin. So Dollar Tree still has this pumpkin. All I did was remove the straw and then paint the back of it white, and I did it in kind of a wispy round stroke there, as you can see. Then the next step was to take the leaves and then use the antique wax. You can use stain, you can paint these whatever color you want. I'm going to end up using 3 leaves for this project, and I just love the way this one turned out. It's really simple, and I like the fact that I could have upcycled one of my projects from last year. But once you have those done, let them dry. I'm going to take this welcome sign here, and I'm just going to paint it black. You can spray paint it, so it'll be a lot faster, but it was raining outside, so I didn't go out there. But get that all covered with some black or whatever color you want to make your welcome part. You can leave it metal if you like. And then I'm taking that wood leaves and gluing them down, and you can use however many you want. I like the way 3 looked, so you can see that here. And the black is from the previous project, so I will cover that up, but I just wanted to show you how I did the pumpkin in the beginning. And I just took that leaf, the green one, and then played that over. The sunflower came from another sign that we'll be using here on the next project, but I just glued on the welcome part, and it's super cute just as is. And then I just took a little bit of white paint to cover up the existing black marks that were on there and everything. And then I thought, well, this is cute on its own, but what if I actually use that welcome to our patch sign that I had in the my bin? So I just took off the top part. I covered up the 2 other signs with white paint. I ended up doing 1 full coat and then a half a coat, if that makes any sense. I wanted to still be able to see the writing that was underneath of it. Again, depending on what color you use, you may or may not be able to see it. And then I just took some black paint and I went over the writing with it. You can see how it says patch there. You can see it, just a little bit of the white in there, and it made it great for tracing. So again, you can use whatever colors you want, but I thought this was just so cute. And then to add even more character to the sign, they have these stick-on pumpkins, and I thought this orange was just cute, wasn't too bold. And then I took the plain one and I did it with the antique wax. I layered those on top of each other. If you're going to put this outside, you'll need a little bit more glue on there. And then I just took a little bit of brown and dry brushed that over the sign just to give a little bit of an aged look as the pumpkin has. And then I just added some glue to the top of the sign, glued on the pumpkin that we made. And I love the way this turned out. It's so cute. You'll have to let me know if you recreate it. Obviously yours won't have the black marks on the pumpkin, but for the next DIY, you're going to want a glue gun, some paint, Mod Podge, 2 pumpkin signs, a square sign, metal word, scrap paper of your choice where you can paint, and then this plaid sign and the rope. I made this in my last DIY. I'll leave it linked down below for you who haven't seen it. And also an eye in the sky. But I'm going to start by just taking a pencil and tracing out the first wood sign, and then that way I can cut out my scrap paper. Now you can paint this on if you want to, but I decided to go the easy route for this one because the next project I actually show you how I'm going to paint it, so I just wanted to give you a little bit of variety. I take the Mod Podge and just spread that on the back of this sign. That way you can have a reversible sign, which I think is always fun. I'm wetting the back of the scrap paper. It was actually 2-sided. I didn't realize that. I got this scrap paper from Michael's too. It was like 50 cents. So you can spread that on, and then getting it slightly wet will allow it not to have any bubbles in the paper. So just keep that in mind, and then just press that down, and you can let that dry for a minute and set that to the side. Then we're going to move on to the pumpkins. I start by removing the bow and then whatever sign is on top. Now I ended up removing the labels. You can paint the other side and just remove the fabric, but I like the fact that it's just easier. It's already flat. If you heat the labels up, usually the label comes off easier. For the bottom of it, you're going to pull off that sign. We're going to use that later. And then the next step is to take some white paint or your paint color of choice, and you're going to spread that all on the pumpkin and let that dry. I'm using the color by Valspar called Ancient Copper, and I love the orange. This I was actually going to do the sign in green, and I didn't like it, so I'm covering it up with an orange. Really, really pretty. It's a very dark reddish orange, and I got that red, but I'm gonna Again, I am just painting the word black, and Dollar Tree sells these in a 3-pack. I love it. They actually have some for Christmas now, which is amazing. I'm so excited. I can't wait to show you guys some things that I found from Dollar Tree for Christmas time. I know it's super early. Don't judge me. You got to get it while they have it, you know? So now I'm just scoring out the bottom of those pumpkin slots, and then I'm adding some hot glue to them. And then I'm going to place that scrap paper sign that we made and push that down in, and it fits perfectly. Now, what you want to make sure to do is to actually center the things on there. As you can see, the left side has more space on the outside than the right. Just think before you do it. Sometimes I don't always think about these things while I'm doing my projects, so you know, I made the mistake for you. The next step is to take the dried pumpkins and glue them onto your sign. I don't know what happened to the clip of me gluing on the straw bows, but they came from the first part of the sign, so we're just upcycling them. Then I'm going to take that one part of that sign that says thankful on it, and I'm going to glue that onto the front of the sign. This is optional, you don't have to do this, but I think it just adds so much character to the sign. It's so cute and it's already painted. You could add this little sunflower if you wanted to that came from the sign. It's optional. I just thought I'd give you some ideas on what you could do with that. But then I'm going to take that rope that was on this previous sign that I made, and I'm just going to glue that back on. I like the addition of it. I think it just makes it look more rustic. And that orange is just so pretty. I love the BM check on the top of the pumpkins. And then I'm just lastly going to glue the harvest part onto the top. You could use thankful, you could use welcome, you could put pumpkins if you want. This is how it turned out, and I am so in love with it. This is by far the favorite sign I made of the day. You'll have to let me know what your favorite is. I took the old sign and just put that on top, so you could also layer another pumpkin on if you wanted to. For the last project, we're going to be using paint, the welcome sign, another wood sign, and then you can use wood leaves, and then also the scrap paper. I would suggest using scrap paper if you do not like to paint. It's okay. It's just an easy way out. You also can use a pumpkin to create your shape for the back of the sign if you want to. It's completely up to you. I know sometimes people get intimidated by some of the crafts. Please don't. There are ways to make it easier for yourselves, as in, you know, using something to trace around and do things. So I'm creating a shiplap sort of paint job here. It didn't turn out exactly the way I wanted to, but the light paper I had was too light and then the dark one was too dark. So I was trying to create a medium tone here, and I'm just kind of dry brushing it on. And the reason I'm not doing the middle is because we're going to be painting that as a pumpkin. So I'm layering in brown, white, gray, black, and gold in there just for it. I know it looks like a hot mess. I promise it'll look better in the end. I traced out my pumpkin, and then I taking the white paint and brushing that in the similar strokes of a way the pumpkin would look, just because you can see it. And so I feel like visually when you're up close to something, it's nice to have that little added texture to it, if that makes any sense. So once you get that completely covered, then at the bottom of the pumpkin I added little like extra loops so it makes it look more real. Again, it's optional. You can frame this out too if you want to. The next step, I did this project before I used the antique wax on the last one, so if I would have done this for this, the antique wax would work fine. But in this one I used to use some of the brown paint I was using before, and then I took some black paint and just feathered that in to mimic the stem of the leaves. Not the stem, but the, I don't know what you call that part. I forget. I'm sorry. And then I took a little bit of the white, and then I also took a little bit of gold just to highlight it and make it more pronounced. Again, adding more depth to the leaf itself, giving it a little bit of character. You can do whatever you like for this. You can do this in greens. You can do it solid. I like adding texture to my stuff. So again, it's completely up to you. And for me, it's just something I enjoy doing. All these projects took me about 3 hours to create, so it took me a while, but I enjoy crafting. So the next step was to take some black enamel paint. You want like a really high gloss paint for this, just so it stands out a little bit. You don't really want a flat paint. And then I'm just highlighting it and making bulges of where the pumpkin would look like it had kind of rusted out, or sort of. I wanted the pumpkin to look like it was enameled. Joann's had a pumpkin on a sign that looked like this, and I was like, I could totally recreate that. So I'm just again highlighting that pumpkin shape. You can add as very little or as much as you want, but definitely do some bold lines on there. You want it to be enameled looking, make it look old and as if it's been aged for a while. You know, you found it in an antique shop. That's what we're going for here. So just layer that in, and then I'm gonna take the leaf that's dried, add a little bit of glue on the back and glue that down, and then I'm going to take that welcome sign and place that on front. Again, use whatever saying you want, but I really like the way it turned out. I did it sideways too, so it would fit better, but I think it's really pretty. It's rustic and I feel like it looks old, and I like that about it. Has some character. So I hope you guys enjoyed all of these fall DIY projects. Let me know which one you're going to recreate. If all of them, awesome. Make sure to tag me on Instagram so I can see your work. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. It means the world to me. I hope you have an amazing day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.